Good afternoon. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to participate in this webinar, which focuses on energy efficiency programs offered through Peoples Gas and Nicor. It's one of the main programs that the Calumet Area Industrial Commission offers to help link our members and manufacturing users to resources to help improve and expand their business. In addition to these programs, CAIC also helps companies link to eligible companies to available economic development resources, such as the City of Chicago SPIT program, Enterprise Zone programs, as well as our workforce development programs, such as the on-the-job training grant. This program has been organized by our Sustainability Committee, and I will turn the floor to my fellow colleague, Jim Boguslawski.
Yes, everyone, thanks for joining us. As Beth said, my name is Jim Boguslawski. I'm on the staff of CAIC as a bridge program facilitator for the CJA energy efficiency training. And also, since retiring in 2018, I've been resource and advisor for sustainability matters. Prior to my being at the CAIC, I spent 50 years in manufacturing, 40 years at Gelita Gelatin as a project engineer, energy manager, and plant manager. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is the CAIC has been promoting the energy efficiency programs from the aspect that we all pay for energy efficiency on our bill, and it is something that can afford our members not only the opportunity to help with lowering greenhouse emissions, but also in saving money. I can say in my career, I did multiple projects with not only on the fossil fuel side with Nicor and Nicor Gas and ComEd, but
just the way he said it.
But in any case, what I'd like to do, we had a webinar with ComEd on their programs. Right now, we'd like to focus on fossil fuel, which is natural gas, which has some unique benefits that I'll let our speakers from Nicor and Peoples talk about. So without further ado, I'd like to start out. I believe Nicor is going to go first. Could you please self-introduce and take it from there?
Yeah, thank you, Jim. And Beth, if you could get the presentation up, thank you so much. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Adil Ehsan, and I'm the business program manager for Nicor Gas. I oversee the strategy and operations of the portfolio. And today we'll cover the full suite of commercial and industrial business offerings that are available through Nicor Gas. Our focus today is really on helping you understand the available incentives, the assessments, and the different financing tools that will really enable you to lower your facility's energy costs. Starting with our service territory, to give you a sense of our reach, we serve 2.3 million customers, including roughly 200,000 commercial customers. Our distribution system spans 34,000 miles across 650 communities. And as shown on the map, our territory covers a significant portion of Northern Illinois, of course, excluding Chicago and Northern Chicago proper. And obviously, this ensures widespread support for businesses in these counties. Our services for energy efficiency can really be classified into four main categories. The first one being assessments. We do offer free energy assessments to identify energy saving opportunities. We also have rebates for qualifying improvements of the gas using equipment. We do offer free energy saving products that are available for immediate install. And we do offer on-bill financing to help manage the capital costs of upgrading your infrastructure. We'll start off with assessment. So assessments is a great avenue to get started on identifying opportunities. Here you can see that we segment our free assessments based on the annual therm usage to ensure you get the right level of detail. So under 150,000 therms, these are some of the smaller facilities and they receive an ASHRAE level 1 assessment and free product installation if we do identify an opportunity for it. That is available in this category. For our mid-sized customers, that would be under 150,000 to 500,000 therms. That would also include an ASHRAE level 1 assessment. Obviously, the caveat being this would be covering multiple buildings, up to 5 buildings if needed. And for our larger industrial customers, that would be over 500,000 therms of annual gas use. They are eligible for a deeper dive, an ASHRAE level 2, level 3 assessment, which includes the deployment of data loggers for precise tracking of gas use and identifying deeper level energy savings. The objective here is that we offer different scopes depending on the facility's needs, whether you need a broad opportunity assessment to find potential projects or a comprehensive facility assessment for a holistic view. So you can schedule these directly through our business assessment portal, the link for which is on the right side of the screen. The other thing I was going to mention is during assessments, we obviously the reporting part of it is a big scope, but we also install free products to start saving immediately. And these would be spray valves, faucet aerators, shower heads, water heater pipe wrap, and door sweeps.
Okay.
So for our next category of services, we have rebates. The core benefit of rebates is to save energy, lower your operating costs, and shorten the payback period of the new equipment. The incentives or the rebates in this case are based specifically on the project type and the equipment specifications. We offer prescriptive rebates for commercial food service equipment, boiler tune-ups, space and water heating upgrades, and agricultural equipment. For specific rebate amounts, I would encourage you to check out nicorgas.com/bizrebates. To qualify for high efficiency equipment, the equipment must be installed between January 1st of this year up until December 31st. And the application must be sent in within 90 days of installation. The next category of incentives is called custom. So if for any reason a project that saves energy doesn't really fit into a standard category, our custom incentives are the right solution. So these incentive ranges from 60 cents to 80 cents per therm saved. The process is a little bit different in that you must submit the custom application and get approval prior to ordering any equipment, which is a mandatory in this case. Beth, I think we may have lost the screen share.
Yeah, my apologies. Something happened. Sorry, we're on
I'll get there.
there.
Yep, thank you very much. All right, so commercial food service. So for commercial kitchens specifically, we have removed the paperwork that goes into submitting the application. So we offer instant discounts right on the invoice through participating suppliers. The discounts in this case can go up to $4,500 for equipment like ovens, fryers, and ice machines. It really helps you buy the higher efficiency model for the best price. And finally, we do offer on-bill financing as well to help you finance the capital cost of the upgrades. The main benefit here is that the installments are applied on the Nicor gas bill. And the loans, they range from $500 up to $150,000. And with that, I will pass it on to Darren.
Thanks, Adil. So Beth, we should be on, I think, slide 10, I think, for strategic energy management. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. And I'll also invite Kristen Arns, who's part of Clear Result, who we partner with to be our implementation contractor. So I'll call on Kristen to give her 2 cents too on some of the slides. So I'll kick it off. So strategic energy management is a year-long series of workshops and one-on-one coaching sessions that can help your business reduce energy costs and greenhouse gas emissions. We also have a joint program with ComEd, and I'll turn on my camera here for a second. And this is more of a behavior-based program, as opposed to what Adil was reviewing was more prescriptive, what we call prescriptive for specific types of equipment and custom projects. This is behavior-based. So why would you sign up for strategic energy management? To, of course, reduce gas costs and usage. And we give a 10-cent per therm incentive on gas savings, and that's measured over a baseline that's based on 2 years of your past usage. So after 1 year of improvements, continuous improvements actions, we measure your savings and pay you 10 cents a therm. So how do you enroll? First, we are targeting customers that are about 250,000 therms per year or more. And then you would submit an SEM application for review and approval through Clear Result or to myself. And we would get you started with a kickoff call and introduction. Let's go to the next slide. All right. This just highlights a little bit in a visual manner of what strategic energy management is. First, you'd start off after you sign up for the program. We basically do a strategic planning with you. You might be in a cohort of like facilities, and if not, it doesn't matter either way. You'll still be able to participate with others and hear some of their best practices and learn from them as you go too. We also want to ensure that you have got executive sponsorship and support from your company to be successful. And then as you go up the chain here in this continuous improvement cycle, these are some of the workshops, the energy scans, et cetera, that encompass the program and to help you make continuous improvements, to try to challenge you and maybe help you think differently about your current processes. All right, let's go to the next slide. And this is just another visual representation of what you might see in the first 6 months especially, of kicking off the program, getting momentum with your energy scan, creating your opportunity register to focus on certain things that would bring you savings, creating an energy charter for everyone to be on the same page. And then you would also participate in workshops and hear other people's success stories and challenges that they have. And I don't know, Kristen, any other input on this slide right here?
No, but I will share some feedback about SEM. SEM is a really great way to organize and implement projects throughout your facility. So I highly encourage participation. It really focuses on behavioral changes, but also supports capital projects.
Yeah, that's a good point. Throughout the year, when we're looking and the energy engineers are looking at ways to help you save, you might come up with a capital project, and then Clear Result would help you fill out any applications to get you started in that area. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Another program that's offered by Nicor Gas is the Combined Heat and Power program. And typically for larger facilities that are looking to create on-site generation of electricity on-site. Now, you may have heard, like in the news recently, about all the data centers coming into our territory, and it might impact your electricity costs or even reliability. So that's where CHP can help. It might be a solution. And so let's kind of go over the why. To assess the cost of on-site generation, there's multiple types of equipment out there, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. But it does get into some complex calculations, your electrical use, your heat use, and all that kind of variables that are very important to see if your facility is a good fit. Once again, we talked about resiliency and affordability. We're also talking about using natural gas as a source fuel to reduce the grid congestion. So how would you get it started to see if you're a good fit for CHP? One is you could do an opportunity assessment or a facility assessment. What Adil had mentioned earlier, it's a good way for us to actually come inside to your facility and see the specific equipment that you're using and see what kind of options there are available to you in the market. And of course, myself is listed here, Darren Davenport or Ben Campbell. He is a principal engineer in the Energy Resources Center. We use him as an expert in combined heat and power. All right, let's go to the next slide. This is just a visual representation of CHP, basically starting with the fuel source, which would, for us, would be natural gas. And then I hear some background noise there. If you could mute yourself, appreciate it. But you can see here in the middle, there's different types of CHP technologies, everything from a reciprocating engine to micro steam turbines, combustion turbines, fuel cells, and all of those would generate electricity and heat for your facility. All right, we'll go to the next slide. Also wanted to include several resources. One is the nicorgas.com website, gives you a little bit more information, but then there is a ton of information at the CHP Energy Solutions Center. What is combined heat and power? It gives you a great understanding, starting from CHP 101 to is my facility a good fit? So some great tools there on that website to check it out if you're interested. And then what we see many times in our conversations are the capital requirements that would be needed to put in CHP equipment. And there's a good reference and good resources out there on financing. So we provided those to you also here in this deck. And I think that's about it for me. Kristen, anything else you want to add to this?
Yeah, I would just like to talk about how this CHP projects pay out for Nicor Gas. So just as a heads up, if you're interested or going forward with a combined heat and power project, the custom incentive for this pays out at $1 per therm saved, up to $50,000 or 35% of the project cost. So there's some pretty good incentives available for these kind of projects. So if you're interested, please be sure to reach out and we'll point you in the right direction.
All right, thanks for that, Kristen. And we'll pass it back to Beth.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Christian. Now we're gonna go to Kevin McKay, who will give his presentation from People's Gas.
There we go. Thank you. I could joke around and say, our programs are the Nicor program and the People's Gas program are very similar. They're different, but they're very similar. So there was a lot of information there that fits with our program as well. When we talk about who's eligible, People's Gas is every Chicago address and only Chicago addresses. So I know the CAIC covers both people in Chicago as well as people who are not in Chicago. If your address doesn't say Chicago in it, you want to talk to the Nicor people. And if it says Chicago in it, please give us a call. So there is something for everybody, from the smallest apartment, that has natural gas in it, onto the largest industrial customers in our program. So there's a couple different areas that we have the commercial and industrial part broken out into. There's what we call C&I, which is 400,000 therms and up. And to give you guys an idea of what that is, because not everybody knows what a therm is, your average 20-story building downtown, office building, is somewhere between 180 and 220,000 therms. So that's a pretty sizable group of properties. But if you are smaller than 400,000 therms, we do have the small business program. So the nice thing about the small business program is that if you use a contractor that is one of our partner trade allies, the incentives are actually enhanced and oftentimes better than what's available for the C&I customers. As long as I'm talking about it, I will also mention that there is a public sector facet to our program. Public sector in our mind is your city and your county and your municipal properties. It's not state or federal. So, the local community college that's based in Chicago can reach out to us for public incentives, but University of Illinois at Chicago is entitled to our commercial and industrial incentives. I wasn't sure if we totally got into this in the first part, but these programs are funded by you. So everybody who has a gas account is paying into these programs. And my job or my team's job is to help you get your money back out of these programs. So go look at your gas bill. You will see on their energy efficiency program, will give you a feel for how much you've been putting in. For business places, that's thousands of dollars. The nice thing is that everybody has an opportunity to get this money. So, even for your house, I wouldn't be able to exactly help you, but even for your house, they do free assessments that Adil had talked about earlier for the Nicor side. Those are also available through our in Chicago through the People's Gas Joint Program. The goal is to reduce energy, to try to make the spikes on energy less impactful to everybody. And obviously it's going to reduce gas. And I know that not everybody on here is really interested in the eco side of things, and so when I talk to people, I've worked with University of Illinois Chicago, UIC. They do insulation projects and they save tons of energy. They do them because the hot pipes are where somebody could touch them and it would be an OSHA violation. So they're not as interested as you'd like to think about the actual gas saving side of things. And the truth is, a lot of these things, anything that saves natural gas is something we have the potential to incentivize. So sometimes it's a maintenance project, like I said, insulation is an OSHA issue, Upgrading the property is always a good idea, whether or not you're totally thinking of energy efficiency as the number one reason to do the work. We've talked about incentives on here already today, and yes, we give some very nice incentives for a lot of our projects. In fact, in 2026, for measures that had higher life cycles to them that last longer, we increased our incentives by 20%. It winds up being like 50 of 115 measures on our prescriptive app. So pretty cool. Obviously, an incentive is money that helps you get the project done faster. It helps you do a project that you wouldn't have done. And for a lot of the people on here who have to account for the money that's being spent at their business, it allows you to get more buying power. So, an average industrial insulation project, we pay 35 to 45% of that project, and so that means that let's say it was 50%, and normally you can write off $10,000 with going to get approval from your boss. Well, suddenly you can do $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 worth of work and not have to talk to your boss about it. So that to me is some power that makes this worth it for all sorts of different people. Most of our measures allow you to use your already approved contractors. So you get to use people who know your buildings, who you're comfortable with already. There are some projects that require you to use specific people, just because there's how do I want to say that? Because you need to make sure that the work's getting done the right way, according to the guidelines of the state. So there are some times where we require to use a certain person. And as I mentioned also, if you're one of those small businesses and you want to get even more money for the work you're doing, we do require to use a partner trade ally, and there are hundreds of them. So don't think that that's an impossible task. For all I know, and for all you know, your current person that you'd like to do work with is already one of our partners. Anything that saves gas is eligible for a rebate. So we talk about maintenance, we allow boiler tune-ups to get an incentive. Certain repairs can get incentives. Certainly a replacement of a furnace or a boiler or any sort of heating system that's using natural gas has an incentive available. Controls that make that thing work better. Those are definitely great options. Oftentimes on the prescriptive app, that can, depending on how much your contractor charges, those sometimes become no-cost projects that save you 3 to 5% on your gas bill. It's great. Adele also mentioned the commercial kitchen equipment. We have the same sort of thing. If it's an Energy Star piece of kitchen equipment, it's a very simple process to get yourself a few $100 to a few $1,000s for installing that. As a side note, there are some places here in Chicago where you could buy that commercial kitchen equipment and have it already reduced by our incentive. So it's just already done, and there isn't even really any paperwork on your side to do after you walk out of that place where you bought the equipment. Heat recovery. Heat recovery is one of those things that you made the heat with the gas. Let's save the heat. Let's reuse the heat. They make things to put on to recover the heat out of your flue exhaust, for example. There are hundreds. Like I said, there are over 100 measures that we consider prescriptive incentives, and then everything else fits under this custom side. And the nice thing about our program is you don't ever need to know what a prescriptive incentive is or a custom incentive is, because we have energy advisors here who will figure out the right slot for you and get it done. The nice thing is, for these custom ones, we calculate an incentive beforehand. So the nice thing is, before you even do the work, we're going to tell you that we're going to pay you $5,280 for that job, as long as you do it the way that we pre-approved it. And there is no question about it. That's the actual number. There's no measuring and verifying at the end or anything else. And that gives you the comfort to know that that incentive is real and that you're going to get that number, and it can impact the way that you decide to do the work and how fast you do the work. And like I said before, that's our whole goal. But when I say anything can save, that saves gas is something that we can help with. I personally helped pay for, it was about $35,000 on the revolving doors at the Palmer House Hilton. And if that isn't the most random thing that I can come up with, I could probably come up with another one, but that's my favorite. So, if there's a reason that something saves gas, we do have money available. One of the things that I noticed when I put the slide deck together was I forgot to talk about studies. So this seems like a great place to talk about them. How did we know that thing was going to save $35,000 at the Palmer House? Well, we did a study. We paid a third-party engineering company of your choice, but there's a group of them that you get to choose from. If you have an engineering company that you're really tight with that isn't part of our program already, we'd love to bring them on board. So that's just a discussion we need to have. But we did a study. We paid a company to go out there, look at it, see how much air was flying through those doorways before they put in the revolving doors, and calculated that was costing them, at the time it was around $35,000 or $40,000 worth of natural gas costs, just because the air that was flying through those old doors that they used to use. And so we paid the whole thing for that study. And then when they decided they wanted to do the work, at the time we were paying $1 per therm saved. We are now at $1.50 per therm saved. So if that same job would have come through in 2026, we'd have paid more like, $50,000. So pretty cool stuff. Those are what we call engineering studies, and they're looking for specific measures at your property that are going to have a nice impact that we need to actually kind of figure out how much energy that's going to save. Sometimes that's a comparing one thing to another. Sometimes that's the micro CHP that we had heard about earlier today. Those are great things where every property is different. That's not going to be great for all the properties, right? Micro CHP is one of those things where, it's imagine a car engine that's making electricity, and then there's heat coming off of it. And if you don't have anywhere to use the heat, maybe it's not the best fit for you. And that's one of the nice things about that type of an engineering study. We also do a different engineering study that we call a gas optimization study, or when we acronym everything too much, we call it a GOS. And a GOS is a nice study for all properties if they have a building automation system. That's kind of the way that starts out. And so they have to be a certain size, but if you have a building automation system, we'll pay an engineering company to come in and look for those low cost, no cost tweaks to your system to get it back running the way it needs to run, the way it should run today. Oftentimes when you put in a building automation system, life's different now than when you put it in. Heck, it's somebody who had put something in before COVID versus after COVID. The way that they're running it is different now than it was. And the truth of the matter is maybe somebody left some settings wrong back then that need to be readjusted for today's usage. And those are great projects. When we're doing one of those gas optimization studies, we can investigate a little bit into some capital projects, but really we're looking for those low cost, no cost measures that have a payback of less than 18 months. And, I haven't quite said this, we as a group, we're very conservative with what we say. So if we say it's going to save, 10,000 therms, we're responsible back to that ICC that we talked about at the beginning. We're responsible to them that we're actually wisely using this money and getting the energy savings we claim. So we're very conservative with the number. If we say it's going to save 10,000 therms, that's a nice floor that you can rely on. So that's kind of how that works. And so when I say something's got a payback of less than 18 months, chances are it has a payback of closer to 15 or 12 or, maybe 10 months. And I think, nowadays, most properties, most companies are trying to keep their ROI on a project, under 3 years. So, I mean, this is a wonderful option for most places if you have a building automation system. This is something you should really be looking into, especially if you haven't done a retro commissioning through the ComEd joint program. It's a similar study, but it's a gas only study. So if you've done one of the retro commissionings, they would be looking usually at a lot of the same measures. And if you've done one and they didn't come up with any gas measures, then we should talk, because it just means that the engineer was focusing on the electric measures. Custom projects, I did mention that we pay $1.50 per calculated therm. That's up to 50% of the project cost. So I kind of mentioned that when we were talking about the insulation, but getting the work done where we pay for half and you pay for half, that's a great opportunity for everybody. And I mentioned that we can consider ourselves kind of a concierge service, and we like to think that our job is to make this as easy for you as we possibly can. I oftentimes tell somebody, every project, first of all, every project needs a pre-approval. But what is a pre-approval? It's an application that my team fills out for you. You have to sign it. You have to help me get a quote. Now, if you're doing work without quotes at your company, I mean, more power to you, but I know you're getting a quote for most things. And I know you can sign your name, and we're going to do the rest of it for you to get that pre-approval done. So that makes life easy for you. You know, if you're not the guy to sign it, because the only thing you sign is your paycheck, as long as you know who we need to go get it from, I'm even happy. Our team is happy to even and try to get that signed for you. Most of our pre-approvals, we will wind up calculating the energy savings, and we'll present that number to you. Like I said, we literally give you a letter that says this will save this many dollars if you do this work that you talked about. Locks that number in, makes it something that you can rely on and you can present to the people above you. So we're going to tell you how much it's going to save. We're going to tell you based on the quote you got, what the ROI is, and we're going to tell you what our incentive is. And that should be enough interest to get the people with the pocketbooks interested in what you're trying to accomplish. But we can't do everything. So first of all, you have to be interested. You have to be a little bit part of the process. You know, you got to bring us ideas. I would not have come up with the slide revolving door project at the Palmer House. They came up with it, you know, and you guys know your business better than we do. Yes, we do assessments, and yes, we're going to come out and we'll talk with you about your building and what you're doing there. But you guys have been there a long time, and we don't expect you to know everything, but you probably have an idea if something saves gas. And I, you know, reaching out to me to say, is this something that you could do? We're always happy to have that discussion. Now, when you call me up and say you want to put in a new chiller at your building, I'll ask you, does it run on gas? And you'll say no, and that's okay. You know, we'll just try to get you over. You know, we'll tell you to go talk to Nicor, or talk to ComEd. But you know, I don't need you to know what application. I don't need you to know it's a prescriptive or a custom thing. I don't need you to know any of that stuff. I need you to be able to come up with some ideas. I need you to help me sign documents, get quotes, get invoices, and that's it. It's very easy. We do have to do some pre-inspections and post-inspections to make sure the work was done and that the work was needed. You know, we don't want anybody trying to get an approval for work that was already done, or, you know, for brand new equipment that should have gotten pre-approved. And we don't want to pay for things that weren't done. So we do pre and post inspections. But we're happy to work with your contractors. There are plenty of contractors who call us before they call their properties. So, you know, but if your contractor's not real comfortable with our program, you can just kind of hook us up, and we will work with them and get them squared away so that they're comfortable and you're comfortable that this program that we're talking about is worth your effort. Last thing is to let us know as soon as possible when work is completed. Nicor mentioned a 90-day kind of window from the time a project is completed that they need everything done. We don't have a hard and fast rule like that, but you know, we can't have things rolling into 2026 that we think are going to be done in 2025. So as long as you're communicating with us and tell us that the project is happening and when you think it's going to start, and just keep us abreast of what's going on there, we can have a great relationship where we're helping you out. I was asked to bring a success story, and I was trying to think of who might be a member of CAIC already, and I don't have that list. So I kind of looked around and I went, well, who have I done some work with that'd be an interesting success story? And one of the companies is over there on the south side called Befesa. They used to be called Horsehead. What they do is they literally take waste product and they heat it up in a 160-foot long kiln, which is that circular item you see above the screen there. Above those people walking. And that thing gets up to about 1100 degrees. And when it does, zinc gets steamed off and they collect that. And their process is kind of neat. It's exothermic, so it does use natural gas, but when it's running well, they don't use a whole lot of gas. So we've paid a couple different projects. We paid for a study, a facility engineering study, to compare a couple different ideas that they were thinking of doing. Came up with one that they wanted to do, a couple different kiln improvements. One was literally something that injected more oxygen into this 160-foot long kiln so that it ran better. And we paid like 50% of that project. It was fantastic. You know, they were part of our SEM program that was Nicor talked about an SEM program. We've had one on our side as well. We still do for industrial customers. And they did spend 4 years participating in our program. And then, the small things like, high efficiency water heaters, you need to heat up the water, even if it's for hand washing, right? So regardless of what you're trying to do, and regardless of the size of your building, we have something available for you. How do you participate? Well, I think the best way that I would tell you guys to work to start with, there is a People's Gas website. There's a North Shore Gas website. North Shore I didn't mention North Shore, but we also work on that program. It's a northern suburbs kind of thing. If you guys have a second facility that's up north, it's probably either Nicor or it's North Shore Gas. So if you're not sure, you can call me. I'd tell you if I can find it, and I'll let you know. But what we want to do is probably schedule somebody to come out, and we assign energy advisors based on your property. So you'll always deal with the same person over on my side. And, we'll work on scheduling an assessment, depending on the energy advisor. Sometimes we even bring one of our in-house engineers out to do that assessment or help with that assessment. If you need help finding a trusted contractor, we call them trade allies. The ones that actually do work with us, we call them trade allies. You need help finding one, we can help you find one. There are things on our website that will allow you to do a self-assessment. Oftentimes if your property is more of a office building sort of property, the self-assessment is probably a nice simple way, and then you can do it on your own time and don't have to deal with other people. That some people like that, but we're happy to come out to do that assessment as well. And that's it. This is my contact information. My name is Kevin McKay. My email is kmckay@franklinenergy.com. Franklin Energy is the company that runs these business programs for the gas company. As you see on my shirt, it says People's Gas and North Shore Gas on it. The only time we ever really talk about Franklin Energy is when I have to give you my email. But People's Gas is here for you, whatever size building you are and whatever you're trying to accomplish. If it saves gas, we have something for you.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Thank you, Kevin.
Sure.
We have a few minutes, so it's probably a good time. If anyone have any questions, would anyone like to ask Kevin or Adil or Darren? Oh, I have one question. I was wondering if I work with a number of manufacturers that operate from enterprise zones that offers like sales tax exemptions for qualified building materials.
Mhm.
And I was wondering if Nicor Gas or People's Gas has used other programs to help support your I can say the word. Have anyone used those programs along in addition to your rebates or other energy efficiency programs?
The short answer on our program, I think, is that we're good with it. We probably wouldn't necessarily know about it because you're going to get a proposal from the people that you're doing work with, and it'll be a tax exempt sort of situation on your, with the money you're getting for doing that work. So yeah, for us, that's fine. We'd be happy to run projects that fit those qualifications.
Or like if a company has to buy, if the company's in an enterprise zone, and they have to buy like things like for the project, they can see if some of the building materials they use is eligible for our sales tax exemption through the enterprise zone.
So yeah, I mean, for our programs, I don't know that it's actually something we wouldn't have a problem with it. It wouldn't be something that we have to deal with. So because you're going to do the work and you're you're going to get the tax exemption because of the work you're doing. And we're going to give you an incentive based on the measures that you're doing work on.
Okay. And I will get a question here. So can we please show again the Nicor and Peoples Gas contact information again? Yes, I will be happy to send those out with the copy of the presentations after the webinar. Or if, okay, yes. Thank you, Kevin.
Sure.
Okay, Adil.
This is Jim. One question I had for both Nicor and Peoples is we've been focusing on energy usage and saw the slide on the strategic energy management, you know, just to look at the big picture of it. But does any of this apply to help some of our members in maybe on the procurement side of the natural gas, or do you guys more or less, are you hands off and leave that up to the constellations and the energy suppliers?
Our program doesn't focus on the pricing.
Okay.
There is an account executive here on the call today, Paul. Paul Flerick is on the call today, and he has some of the larger accounts here in the Chicago area, and some of the fun ones like the Cubs and Shed Aquarium. But like he's got a lot of the bigger ones. Most of the managed accounts are over 100,000 therms a month, if I understand correctly, other than those fun ones. But he's available to help with that.
Nicor Gas, anything you want to add?
I'd say that's similar. We have managed accounts also on our side, and we can have, if you have questions, we can forward you to those account executives. And I see Joe Imbrogno has come on, but we can help you there.
I've been here the
those.
whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just turn my camera on. Yeah, on like gas supply, I guess if customers are transportation customers, then they're generally going to be working with a gas marketer or gas supplier to find the best pricing in that regard. If it's gas, again, that they own. If there are questions as to like what rate might be best for a given customer, if you want to take a rate 4, where you're a sales at Nicor, I should say, where you'd be a sales customer, and where it's Nicor is responsible for procuring and distributing that gas, delivering that gas, versus a transportation customer where you're going to work with a third party supplier, and then Nicor is really only delivering that gas. So yeah, we have a team of account executives that work with our largest customers, many that are part of the CAIC. And anybody here at Nicor, Beth, if you're giving out Darren's contact information and Till's contact information, those are great places to start. And we'd be happy to have rate-related conversations with any customers as well. But again, many CAIC members that are Nicor customers are already managed accounts and should have an account executive that they're acquainted with already. But if not, again, happy to keep that moving forward. Great question, though.
No, and that comes basically because I'm not familiar with People's natural gas storage, but the Nicor storage was a great way for me as a plant manager for arbitrage of energy prices, and always applied for the most storage. It was really, it was cheaper than call options. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the storage is a great asset for both our sales customers and our transport customers. And you mentioned Jolita. Of course, Jolita is still a great customer of ours.
Great. Do we have any more questions? Any more questions you want to write into the chat box? Going once? Going twice? All right. I guess that's it. Thank you to everyone so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. We will be happy to send you out like the presentations after the presentations for this event, and please contact if you have any questions. Thank you.